She looked at him, eyes filled with curiosity, the kind that dances between affection and challenge. Then she asked it, softly, almost innocently, "Would you still love me if I changed?" He smiled faintly but said nothing, because he knew this wasn't really a question. It was a test every man faces, and most fail. That moment, that silence, carried more power than 1,000 words, because sometimes the question a woman asks isn't about getting an answer. It's about measuring who you are. Every man who's ever loved knows this. Women don't only hear your words, they feel your energy, and when you rush to answer, to please, to reassure, you don't realize you've just handed over your frame, your calm, your power. Stoicism teaches us that power doesn't come from control over others. It comes from mastery of yourself, from stillness in chaos, from knowing that silence can speak louder than any promise. When she asks a question like, "Do you love me more than before? Would you still want me if I weren't beautiful? What would you do if I left?" She's not looking for a rehearsed line. She's subconsciously testing your emotional gravity. A Stoic man knows, if your peace can be disturbed by her curiosity, you are not yet grounded, because the essence of masculinity, the kind that women truly respect, lies in not needing to prove it. Imagine Marcus Aurelius being asked by someone, "Do you care about what they think of you?" He'd probably smile, gaze into the distance, and respond, "The opinion of another cannot move what is already still." When a woman senses that, she feels something ancient, security, presence, strength that doesn't shout, but hums quietly through your silence. So the next time she asks something that feels like a trap, don't react. Breathe. Let the pause hang between you, because that pause tells her you are not afraid of her emotions. You can hold the tension. You can remain unshaken, and that's what she truly wants. The paradox of attraction is this. She'll test your emotional solidity not because she wants to break it, but because she wants to trust it. A woman's heart cannot surrender to a man who collapses under pressure. She needs to feel that when she loses control, you remain the mountain. That's why this question, any question that challenges your worth, your care, or your love, is not meant to be answered. It's meant to be felt. When you say, "Of course I still love you," you think you're being kind, but sometimes your eagerness to reassure translates as insecurity, because confidence doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. Remember, a woman's emotions are waves, ever-changing, unpredictable, beautiful, but you must be the shore, steady, silent, immovable. Stoicism is not about being cold. It's about being calm in the fire. It's about understanding that true love doesn't live in words. It lives in presence, in the depth of your eyes when you listen, in your restraint when she tries to provoke emotion, not out of cruelty, but out of longing to feel you alive. A man who cannot sit in silence with a woman will never understand her soul, because her tests aren't logic, they're energy, and only a still mind can read the language of emotion without losing itself. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens that disturbs a man, but his judgment about it." When she tests you, don't judge it as disrespect. See it as nature's way of sharpening your composure, because each time you remain centered, she feels safer, not controlled. Safe. There's a story told among philosophers. A man once asked Socrates, "How can I win every argument with my wife?" Socrates laughed and said, "By not needing to. That's the secret. You win not by convincing her, but by being unshakable. Your energy teaches more than your words ever could. When she sees that her storm cannot move your calm, her soul whispers, 'This man is home.' That's why the worst thing a man can do is answer emotionally charged questions impulsively. The moment you do, you move from being the observer to being the reactor, and the Stoic man never reacts. He responds. A woman wants to feel your depth, not your desperation. She doesn't need you to explain yourself endlessly. She needs to see that you trust your own truth. Because the more you explain, the less you are believed, the more you chase, the less you are desired, the more you try to control, the more you lose yourself. So when she asks that dangerous question, the one that pokes at your confidence, smile gently. Look into her eyes. Let silence speak for you. Because in that silence lives your entire masculine frame. In that silence, she'll feel something words can never create. Respect. Every truly attractive man carries the same secret. He's not detached. He's deliberate. He chooses his battles. He knows when to speak and when to let time speak for him. And that's why women chase these men. Because they represent safety wrapped in mystery. They represent calm in a world that's loud. They represent order within chaos. But here's the trap. Society teaches men to overshare, over-explain, over-emote, to constantly seek validation, even from the woman they love. Yet the more you seek it, the less she gives it, because validation is a currency of the weak. The strong don't ask to be seen. They shine quietly, through purpose. When you walk in your truth, when your actions match your values, you stop chasing understanding and start radiating it. That's Stoicism in motion. You don't answer every emotional question, not out of arrogance, but out of wisdom. You understand that love needs space to breathe. You let her come to her own realization, and paradoxically, when you stop trying to convince her of your worth, that's when she finally sees it. So the next time you hear, "Would you still love me if I lost everything?" Pause, take a breath, look at her softly, and with a calm smile say, "You don't have to lose anything for me to stay who I am." Then say nothing more. Because sometimes, power isn't in what you say, it's in what you refuse to. This is the Stoic way, not dominance, but inner gravity, not control, but composure, not fear of loss, but mastery of self. Remember, women aren't drawn to men who answer everything. They're drawn to men who understand everything, quietly. And if you can become that man, the one who remains unmoved, unshaken, and undistracted by emotional storms, then no question can destroy your power, because your power no longer depends on anyone else. That's the ultimate truth of Stoicism. When you master yourself, the world and every woman within it begins to orbit your calm.